All right, let's talk about a quiet revolution that's happening in AI right now. It's one that's totally changing how businesses predict the future. And you know what? It could be just as big of a deal as the large language models we hear about every single day.
You know, for decades, businesses have had to rely on forecasting for pretty much all their biggest decisions. I mean, think about it. How many lattes is your local coffee shop going to sell tomorrow? How many nurses does a hospital need on the night shift? Or even, how much electricity will an entire city need during a massive heat wave? These are the kinds of questions that literally keep businesses up and running.
But here's the thing. For a long time, they've really struggled to get it right. The old-school forecasting methods, they're just too rigid for our messy, unpredictable world. In fact, some companies report that their forecasts are only accurate about 50 to 60% of the time. That's basically a coin toss, except, with multi-million-dollar decisions hanging in the balance.
Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to unpack what makes this prediction problem so tricky. Then, we'll see how AI is basically giving us a much better crystal ball. We'll also get into the generative AI revolution, meet the new forecasters on the scene, see how they're being used in the real world, and finally, take a peek at what's coming next. So to get away from that 50-50 coin toss, we have artificial intelligence making its grand entrance. Instead of just looking at simple historical averages, AI gives us a way more dynamic and intelligent way to see what's just around the corner.
Now, at its heart, this is all about something called time series forecasting. I know, it sounds super technical, but it's actually pretty simple. Just imagine you're tracking the number of ice creams you sell every day. Well, time series forecasting is just using all that past data to make a really good guess about how many you're going to sell tomorrow. That's it. And AI brings some serious superpowers to the table. Superpower number one, it uncovers hidden patterns. We're talking about deep learning models that basically have a memory of past events. This lets them spot these really subtle seasonal cycles that the older methods would just completely fly past.
Second, and this is huge, AI models are always learning. They're not static. I mean, think about how fast trends change online. As all that new data comes pouring in, the model adapts its predictions in almost real time. This is absolutely crucial in a world where yesterday's news feels like ancient history.
And third, AI can juggle a ton of different variables all at once. An old model might really struggle to connect, say, the weather to your ice cream sales. But an AI model, it can factor in the weather, a local holiday, and even the buzz on social media all at the same time to create a forecast that's way more accurate.
Okay, now this is where things get really cool. That whole generative AI boom, the tech behind tools like ChatGPT that we all know, it's actually sparked a massive breakthrough in forecasting. It's given us a totally new way to think about numbers.
And this breakthrough comes from a new type of model called a time series transformer. While the big language models are grabbing all the headlines, these transformers are kind of the unsung heroes, quietly starting a revolution in prediction behind the scenes.
So here's the key idea. A large language model looks at a sentence and predicts the next word, right? Well, a time series transformer does the exact same thing, but with numbers. It looks at a sequence of historical data and predicts the next value. It literally treats numbers like a language.
And the secret sauce here is something called pre-training. The best way to think about it is like this. The AI model goes to a general university, learning from billions of data points about all sorts of things to get a really broad education. Then, a company can fine-tune it, which is like sending it to a specialized school to become an expert on their own specific data.
And this isn't just theory, okay? The biggest names in tech are already building and releasing these incredibly powerful new forecasting tools. They're creating a whole new ecosystem of these foundation models built just for time series data.
And wow, just look at this new landscape. You've got Amazon's Chronos, which really leans into that whole idea of treating numbers as a language. Then there's Google's TimesFM, which was pre-trained on a mind-boggling 100 billion data points. Salesforce has MoreEye, which is designed to be a kind of universal forecaster. And you've even got models like TimeGPT, which focus on making all this power super easy to use through a simple API. Each one has a slightly different approach, but they're all chasing the same goal, making forecasting better and easier for everyone.
But it's not all about these massive, giant-scale models. There's also this growing AI light trend. You've got models like IBM's TinyTimeMixer that are designed to be really compact and efficient. They can deliver seriously powerful results without needing massive, expensive computers to run them, which is a game changer for making this tech accessible to way more businesses.
So this is all fascinating tech, for sure. But how does it actually translate into real-world results? Let's take a look at where these models are already shaking things up.
I mean, the applications are just incredibly broad. What if you could predict the next big market trend?
Or what if you could make sure the exact product you want is always in stock at the store? What if we could better balance our energy grid? Or, get this, even predict disease outbreaks before they really take hold? This is the kind of stuff these models are doing today.
Let's make this super real with a case study. Researchers took on a huge public health challenge, predicting harmful air pollution in Beijing. They used that AI light model we mentioned, IBM's TinyTimeMixer, and fed it both historical air quality data and current weather patterns.
And the results were just staggering. After they fine-tuned the model on Beijing's local data, the prediction error dropped by roughly 40%. That is a massive leap in accuracy. It means better public health warnings, smarter city planning. It's a huge deal.
And this really gets to the core of why all of this matters. As Joshua Noble from IBM says, the ability to more accurately see into the future is just an incredibly powerful asset for any organization, whether it's a tiny startup or a giant corporation.
So, after all that, what's the big takeaway from this quiet revolution? What does it all really mean for the future?
Well, the most important takeaway is one word: democratization. Super accurate, sophisticated forecasting isn't just for data scientists with PhDs anymore. These new foundation models are making it more powerful, more accessible, and a whole lot easier for pretty much everyone to implement.
And that leaves us with one last big thought to chew on. For decades, prediction has been a fundamentally hard problem, but as it becomes an increasingly solvable one, allowing us to accurately forecast everything from what you'll buy next week to long-term climate patterns, you have to wonder, what are the next great challenges we'll finally be able to solve?